of next hour. J-Mac is joining us. So much fun. Trent Dilfer, a decade and a half, a Super Bowl, a Pro Bowl. By the way, his Mustangs, this weekend, they've got a rival. And for the first time in 13 years, they beat their rival 43-21. They outgained them 633 yards to 147. And your quarterback is Hank Brown. Is that right?
You got it.
He's going to Liberty, 5 touchdowns. So that's a huge win. That's as big a win as Trent Dilfer's had in his life. Maybe even outside of the Ravens game, that may have been as big a game as you've had. Good for you. You're happy today. And I totally get how fulfilling that is for you. It's been a really neat journey to watch you in that, by the way.
Yeah, really neat for our kids. They overcame a lot. Great program that we beat at their place for the first time in 13 years. Power 5 kids, tough kids, and a great coaching staff we played against. So really happy for our kids and our coaches. They did a great job. I was probably the most average person on the field that night. The rest of them were pretty spectacular.
So, Trent, you can go look at your Super Bowl, and you were part of a collective, a great owner, a great team, a great defense. And then there are these quarterbacks. You know, you get your Mahomes and your Peyton Manning, and we always kind of give them credit for winning. But Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl in Indy when he had his best defense, by the way. That was his best defense. And I watched Tom Brady. And in New England, he got barked at by Belichick. He took less money. He didn't have a lot of control. He complained to his wife about that. He goes to Tampa. The longer he's there, the more power he has. Now I'm watching his personal life, sadly, unravel. I'm watching the team unravel. And I was talking to the team this morning, and I said, you know, be careful what you root for or seek in life. Like LeBron James, the minute LeBron's wanted personnel decisions, he got Westbrook. And now they can't get him out of town fast enough. I'm just watching Tom here. And part of me is like, okay, he got all the power he wanted. And the truth is, he was a really good team player in New England when he didn't get his way on everything. This thing looks like an uncorrectable mess. Or am I wrong on that?
Well, I don't think it's uncorrectable. I think you bring up a fantastic point that probably isn't talked enough about, is that, like in life, right, we're all looking for ease and we're looking for comfort. We're trying to make as much money right now so we retire early. Professional athletes are looking for the best fit for ease and for comfort. The problem with that is most of us are at our best when things are uncomfortable and when things are hard. And I think most of Tom's career, although wildly successful, the greatest of all time, he was surrounded in an environment where he was forced to be uncomfortable and things were very hard. The accountability was hard. The expectations were hard. Winning every week in practice was hard. One of Belichick's geniuses is to make everybody on edge, quote unquote, uncomfortable all the time. And I think as you get older in football and in life, as you seek ease, as you seek comfort, it actually works against you in terms of productivity. Most of us are far more productive when there is pressure, when there is hard things, when you are forced at the edge of uncomfortable. I've been saying for years, the edge of uncomfortable is where you find greatness. And if you talk to some of the most wildly successful people in the world, in business, in whatever it is, they will reiterate that it's when you're uncomfortable, when you're challenged, when you're stretched, when things are brutally hard is when your genius comes out. That's when your greatness comes out. And I think we're losing that a little bit with Tom Brady, as well as a bunch of other things. This is not just a Tom issue. There's a lot of things going on in Tampa, but I think you bring up a great point. I think you mentioned LeBron James. The easier it gets for him, the less successful, less productive they are. So I think this carries over to a lot of walks of life.
You know, it's interesting. I've said this before about Aaron. Fit in life is really important, right? Like, very few people, I always use Bill O'Reilly's career. He was a guy that bounced around the business, and then he found this conservative kingmaker in Roger Ailes, and for 20 years he ran cable. He didn't get more talented. He found a perfect fit for his voice, and I've told many people in broadcasting that. And then I look at Aaron Rodgers, I don't love this fit for him. He is not a mentor. He's not a father. He doesn't have the patience of a Trent Dilfer, somebody that's got kids. As you age and you had kids and you have to take the dog for a walk, it's a lot of sacrificing. Aaron's brilliant. This team needs love and patience and no eye rolling and no snarky. It needs a big arm around it and go back to the kids. And I'm not blaming Aaron. He's not built for this crew. He's not. And you're seeing it on display. And it's easy for me to bang on Aaron. I don't think he's washed. I don't think he's less talented. But I think you're seeing a 38-year-old single guy that's got no patience for these kids' mistakes. That's what it looks like to me on television every week.
Listen, I hate agreeing with you constantly, but I totally agree with you. He needs a bunch of gray hairs on his team. He's a guy that wants a bunch of wily old vets. They don't have to be the fastest. They don't have to be the strongest. They probably walk with a limp. They don't practice on Wednesdays. They walk through on Thursdays, but they're gamers. Like he's has most success with that synergistic relationship with veterans that think and act like him. I mean, in crunch time yesterday, they're using the running back as their vertical threat. Like he wants the age tight end. He wants the Randall Cobb. I think the Devontae Adams thing, you can't talk enough about how much it hurt losing him, because not only is he wildly talented, but he was a sagey old vet. Like, I agree with you. Aaron doesn't have, frankly, he shouldn't have to. And I'll defend Aaron here. He shouldn't have to be babysitting.
That's right.
He shouldn't have to be mentoring.
That's right.
He shouldn't have to be in this position. Like, I'm pro Aaron Rodgers on this. Like, go get him some dudes that are vets, that have been there and done it, and know how to make big plays in big moments, that can adjust on the fly, that you can draw some stuff up in the dirt on the sideline and then go execute it. That's what Aaron Rodgers needs. He doesn't need a developmental squad that he's asked to put the Superman cape on and go win games in the NFL. Like, I'm totally pro Aaron on this, but I think you're right. Like, fit is a huge thing, and the organization has to recognize this. Like, we have one of the greatest football players that's ever walked the planet. What can we do to support him besides just drafting a bunch of talented guys? Like, let's go find them dudes that are long in the tooth, that know how to win football games.
Yeah. So, it's really interesting. I always thought Tony Romo was really gifted. And when Burrow came out, I said, I see Tony Romo. He's going to make some mistakes. Escapability, better than average arm, and there's just a magic to him. Now, the public didn't love Romo. They love Burrow. But it is interesting. He's not as big. He's not as spectacular as Josh Allen. He doesn't have the arm talent of Mahomes. He looks like a lot of guys in this league. Physically, size. But there is something about Burrow. And I don't know if it's upstairs. His demeanor, his calm. You've been doing this your whole life. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He's not the most mobile guy. He's kind of skinny. What's the magic with, how do you explain how, this is the 5th time he's thrown for 4 football fields in a game. He'll have another 10 in his career, 20. What is it with him?
He's the modern day Brady Marino, in my opinion. He's more talented. He has more horsepower than people give him credit for. However, what makes him special is his edge. Yes, he's wildly accurate. Yes, he processes at a massively high level. But he's at his best when his back's against the wall. He's at his best with the chip on his shoulder. He's at his best when he's got this edge to him that Marino had, that Brady's had forever. He just has the it. I don't know if there's a better way of saying it. Like, we did a documentary a few years ago called The It Factory, going around the country and identifying the it in quarterbacks. And Burrow is the headliner for that. He just has it, along with a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But to me, like, you're looking for comparables. It's Marino, probably a little less arm talent than Marino. It's Brady, maybe a little more at this stage of their career, a little more athleticism than Brady. But what made Marino and Brady even more spectacular, more great than just their talent and their football ability, was their edge, was their it. And Joe Burrow may have as much it as anybody in the NFL.
So, listen, Peyton Manning's rookie year, he threw a lot of picks. Joe Burrow had some ugly ones in his first year. You go back in the annals of the NFL, year one for a rookie quarterback can be ugly. I don't see the special with Pickett, but he does like sitting in the pocket. He's not afraid of that. He's pretty good in the muddy pocket. He's big enough. He's strong enough. I don't know what to make of him. He had a lot of college starts. He's, I'll watch Justin Fields and I'm like, I don't think he's comfortable in the pocket. I'll watch Kenny Pickett and I'll go, he's flawed, but he's totally comfortable in the pocket. Last night he had a couple ugly ones. He could have had double the interceptions. A lot of them dropped. What do you make of what you see so far?
I like his stuff. And we just had the it conversation. I don't want to use that again, but I like his stuff. I like his presence. I do think he plays the game at a high level for a young player. He's going to make some silly mistakes. I do agree with you that he lacks explosive qualities like wow, sizzle factors. I do think the small hands. Listen,
Yeah.
people make a joke about this. I do think the small hands is a thing. It's not the big thing, but it's a thing. You saw as the ball got a little bit of moisture in the air, the ball was coming out a little funky, lost a little juice. I think it affected Tua as well. I think he lacks these glamorous qualities that people rave about that they want their quarterback to have. But he also has these substantive qualities that win football games. And I think he's with the perfect organization that does have patience, that's going through a tough stretch right now, but does have some patience. They're going to develop him well. They're going to surround him with good people. They're going to manage him like they managed Ben his first couple years. And I think you're going to find one of the great winners in the NFL if the Steelers maintain their course like they have for the past, is it 18 or 19 years with Tomlin. I think if they continue that philosophy organizationally, they have the guy that's going to win a ton of games for them.
All right, good stuff for them. Trent Dilfer, by the way, Beyond the X's and O's with Trent Dilfer, his podcast, Smart Stuff Every Week. Congrats again, buddy, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, he loves coaching that high school football team. He's getting incredible joy. It's like me. I'm your mentor, J Mac. I'm just, I'm like I'm feeding you the rock, and you're scoring, and it delivers so much joy to me.
Wait, last week wasn't I Cliff Kingsbury and you were Kyler Murray? By the way, things not looking good in Arizona. There's some stuff happening there.
Well, what do you mean? They won.